Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Lights Out League Racing. This is season 24, race 3, and we're at the Miami International Autodrome. Miami, what can you say? Bit of a hit and miss track. Some people like it, some people don't. I think the fact that it's a very much man-made track. A lot of people like the old traditional style tracks, and this one is basically in a car park, and so not really a fan favourite. Currently 18 cars on the track. I think we're expecting one more driver to join us once he's had his update, but it's nice to see near a full grid with only a few weeks left to go before the new game is released. Yeah, like I say, interesting track, Miami. Set in the Hard Rock Stadium complex, home of the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins! But it's a brand new track, basically. First Grand Prix in 2022. And the 11th different US venue that's been held for F1. Interesting. Everyone's still in the... Oh, we've just got a car coming out now. It says everyone's sitting there. Who's going to be the first one to brake? And we've got some action finally. But it's an interesting track. It's a culmination of a development process that's simulated no less than 36 different layouts before they decide on the current circuit. And the circuit that's been decided is not just too dissimilar to Albert Park, if anyone's wondering of what it's like. We've got one or two drivers on the grid joining us for the first time this season, and also we've got one or two brand new drivers to the league, and I'll do an introduction to everybody after we've done a hot lap. We will be doing a hot lap with Barcelona, who's the only one that looks like he's doing a lap on the mediums, probably doing a little test, a little banker lap, trying to find his feet and doesn't want to waste a set of softs. But yeah, wasn't the original track that they were planning for Miami. It used to be plans in 2019 to race around Port Miami, but there are complications with the construction and development, so they've stuck us with this. And what we'll do is we'll jump on with Mr. Old Barcelona. Didn't expect him to show up, but he did, and they'll set us a nice little hot lap. So you don't really need to sort yourself a position on here. You can go inside or outside, open that DRS, and we go down to turn 1, so as far left as possible to open up that corner, drop down to third. He's actually gone down to second. Turns 2 and 3, stay off those curbs, otherwise you will be spinning. And then it's nice flat out here going down to turn 4. Blind lift off, don't brake here, but you want to go through as much speed as possible again. Stay off the curbs on turn 5 and 6. He's gone down to 5th, and probably stay in 6th. And you want to trail brake in this corner. It's one of the hardest ones to navigate. And now we're on the straight to open up that DRS. And want to stay off that curve to get best traction. And this is going to be one of the great overtaking opportunities as we've got the hard braking zone down to turn 11. On the far right hand side of the track, again to open up that corner, avoid the inside curb. And then nice smooth position round, cut the corner on turn 13 here, and then round Mickey Mouse chicane. Don't invalidate here. It can be easy to take as much curb as possible. Far right going out from turn 16, again open up that DRS, and it's going to be another great overtaking opportunity in the race. And one of the fastest parts on the track here. Going about 340 kilometres an hour. And again, another hard braking zone going down onto turn 17. Drop it to third, but he's gone down to second again. As far right against the wall as possible to get the best exit. And you want to hug the inside corner on the right hand side. And he goes over the line with a 1:27.7. Great start lap from Barca on the mediums. I don't know, I predicted probably low 27s for the start of this for pole. So as both the Williams there, it's an Alpine that we're getting crossing. It's Iron Mandem with his first timed lap and goes P2 1:30.9. So I think he's got a bit more time to find there. Everyone is going through setting their first lap, and Linazukan in the other Haas comes in 28.9. We do have the current Aston of Portuguese who's on his outlap. Ferrari following behind of Amadi, who goes on 27.1. So it could even get in the 26s for this pole. Banging lap there from Amadi, and it sets a time that needs to be beaten. Tari crosses the line of Devil's rejected and goes to 29.6. So still a little bit time to find for him. Brid, who gets himself up to provisional P3 on a 28 flat, not far behind Barca, but of course Barca is on those mediums, and then Big Raki potentially doing an outlap, in a second outlap on the 147. But Bellamy jumping up provisional P2 on a 27.7. Oh, and Big Raki span out, and he's and was that a collision with Brid? Brid's been given a grid penalty, so I don't know what happened there, but Big Racky's still in with a shout. Sidegate's coming in the provisional P8. So we've got Andy coming around to set his first lap, and comes to the line provisional P7 and 29.1. It's a great lap from him. So Portuguese, he's going to be looking for that pole position. It's looking fast, it's looking quick. And he's coming with provisional P2 of 27.2. Ooh, just over a tenth over Amadi, so it's going to be tight. Great lap. Got the Mercedes are both jumping in the pit there, so I don't know if they had a bit of a crap, or they're both just coming out. Now it'll be interesting. Oh, one's going out, one's coming in. So the thing with the Mercedes boys is they've been doing some fantastic team play in regards to just see if I need to invite someone. Not yet. They've been in some team play and working on the slipstream, so it'll be interesting to see that again, but they're currently not doing that now. If we've got ahead, we've got AJ who's just come around the final couple of corners. He'll be looking to get up into that podium. Spots in Judge straight in the pits. I think he's invalidated. So we've got Danny Dine here. Giza dropped up to P6. Mr. Consistent, that's going to be his name now, Mr. Consistent. Danny Dine's coming round in the third sector. Fast main corner. The last couple are just flat out. And where's he going to be getting himself? And goes up to provisional P10 with a 29.4. That's a great lap from him. We'll jump down on Adam Mako's on his outlap. So a couple of new guys with us for tonight. We've got Barcelona, who's one of the Haas drivers. It's his first out in the season. Finally graced us with his presence. Let's see what he can do. He's be going an outlap and doing a lap on softs. We've got his teammate Linda Zukin, who is filling in for Noodles, who's unfortunately not with us tonight. He's having his appendix taken out. So all good wills to him. Hopefully he's watching. We've got Brid, who's filling in the Alfa Romeo for Wesker, who's still yet to join us. Hopefully he will do eventually, but he's too busy watching musicals. And it's not just many musicals, it's one musical. You best know it word for word. We've got Lethal Strike, who is filling in for Jack Daniels in the Alpine, currently in P8. We've got Andy, who is now our new Williams driver alongside Dan. He's taken over from Jesper, who can't join us now, unfortunately, for the rest of the season. Just other commitments, and we do have some team play there. And the Mercedes, as I mentioned, Katami's giving Adamako the slipstream that he wanted so badly, and we found that it has given him some extra couple of tenths, so some great team play there. Oh, and who's held up? Adam, he's going to be absolutely fuming. It looks like, was that one of the Alpines? I think, was that an Alpine or a Williams? Who was that? It was an Alpine. And it looks like it was Iron Man, so he's going to be getting a quali ban for that if he joins us again. You need to keep an eye out for the drivers on a hot lap behind you. I think, yeah, that one will be one for the stewards. As Adam goes up currently P10, but we know that he's got that timer in him. But he won't be happy with that at all. Yes, so we've got Andy, we've got Cygate joining us for the first time this season in the Red Bull team. And Adam is he looking to do another hot lap or trying to get back in? I don't know what's going on with these two drivers. It's quali guys, remember. If you're not on a hot lap, move out the way. We'll see what Adam's time is when we go up to the second sector, if he's on another hot lap or not. No, he's pulled out. Okay. Is that Thelemion coming round? No, he's just coming in the pits now. Barca is on the softs, I know. Who am I speaking to anyway? I don't know your name, Williams. Speak in the chat. Nice to have some company. Yes, the Cygate D goes on provisional pole with a 1:27.1, so it's only a little bit quicker. It's only a couple of hundredths quicker than his previous time, so it's still all to play for. As we follow Dan round on the end of his sector 2, see if he can improve or not. And we'll find out as he comes through the Mickey Mouse chicane in a second. Katames is still yet to set his lap. I think he's on a hot lap now. As Dan he's up 4 seconds on his time. He's down, 4 seconds on his time, so he's not going to improve there. We'll jump on Mr. Katames. Or is it AJ? AJ's first. See if he crosses the line. Comes in with visual P5 with a 27.9, so great lap from him. We'll see what time Katames sets as well. I'll double check on our mate if he's okay. Let's see if I can re-invite him. I'll be 1 second. Mr. Toby Toe. Let's see if you're online. Oh, are you online? Not showing you on, Toby. Can't see you. As Katames goes up to a P7. Oh, it's not oh my god. Okay, let's try again. Let's see Mr. Craybrook, shall we? There he is, right. Sent. Right, let's see if we can get in and do a quali lap. Is that beast that's on a hot lap? Let's have a watch of that then. 10 people watching, that must be a record for me. I'm getting famous. I'm a superstar. And I think this is a bit slow from, is it a bit slow from Portuguese? It might not be. Can he just nip Amadi to provisional pole? He can with a 27.126. So that's just 100th in it. And there's still time for others to find. Great lap there, and going to be some big battling from those pair. As Danny Dine is nearly half a second up on his time. The DRS is open. That potentially would get him, he could get him up to P11. There is a big gap from P10 and P11. But we'll see where he's going to finish. across the line and does go up P11 with a 29.121. It's looking close. Look at, there's some really tight positions. We're not going to be able to call it. 3 minutes left to go, so there's going to be one more lap for pretty much most of the drivers. I think it'd be a bit hard for Danny to get back out again. But great lap as we jump on with Andy and see how he gets on in his second hot lap. It will be his final lap. I don't think he'll get to do another one. And yeah, joining his teammate Dan Morris. It's his first outing of the season. Unfortunately, he's been held up at work, and glad to see him with us. Unfortunately, he is doesn't really like this track. Not his favourite, but like we always say, keep it on the track, get to the finish, and you will get some points. I'm just checking if Toby's joining us. As Andy's just coming down the fast straight. And he crosses the line, and we'll say P13 at least. So it's a good luck from him. But it is now the last of the runners, as we've got Sygate coming round for his. He's almost 4/10 up on his time. It probably won't get him any further up the field, but he will improve his time, and won't be as risked from Iron Dan. And across the line of 30.0, so does improve his time. As Ironman Dan is almost 2 cents up on his time, and he does wiggle a little bit. I don't think that would have helped. We'll see how he gets on coming into Sector 3. He does have traffic ahead of him. Hopefully they'll get out of his way. But he will get a little bit of slipstream, which could help, and he's a 10th down now, 10th and a half down, so... but that slipstream may help. He's having to navigate cars on either side. It's like the N25. There's cars everywhere. He's coming around the fast final corner. He's got no ERS left, so I don't know what he's been spunking that. His pants must be full. As he's coming around the final corner, can he improve his time? And does not improve his time, unfortunately. I think Dan Morris is next, and he is a 10th up on his time now. Can he improve and get himself up the table at all? It's very tight with the drivers ahead of him. There's a good 4/10 between him and 5th. As Lenzuken has finished, he's not going to improve. Portuguese can't do another lap, so he's going to be vulnerable for being pipped on pole. Will we see another Mercedes masterclass? I think it would have already happened if that was the case. And he crosses line and stays currently P10. As Big Racky jumps up to P11. And the McLaren, as we're seeing, that Katami's coming round. It's Adamako. Adamako goes to provisional P4. He could have done so much better, I think, but that is how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Portuguese goes in the pits, and we've got an Alfa Romeo, is it? As Brids goes P5. And got the other McLaren coming round of AJ, and goes up to provisional P4, jumping Adamako. Bragging rights are efficient there. We've got Kizzy coming around final corner. Can he improve from P9, goes up to P8? Great lap from him. Who's next is the Alpine of Lethal Strike. He's coming around the final corner. We do have the Alpha Tauri of Devil Rejected going up to P13. Great final lap from him. Looks like a Ferrari that's gone round of Amadi, who's coming around the final corner. Can he jump? And Thellamy's got provisional pole. Amadi nips it in the last minute with a 26.8 out of nowhere. And then we've got finally Katami's. Can he improve on his P9? And does nice days P9. At the death, Thellamy was absolutely screaming, thinking he'd nipped it. And then Amadi comes and snatches off him like candy from a baby. Thellamy's screaming his head off like a little toddler. Oh, we could have had a new pole pole sitter, but Amadi takes it, shows his dominance for this season so far, takes that pole. But does that mean that there's going to be a different winner in the race? We've had Adamako, who's had the poles previously in the first 2 races of the season. Amadi is a beast. He's an absolute machine at the moment, in the form of his life. So just waiting for Lethal Strike to get set up in the pits. And there we go. So yeah, who in the chat? Put who you reckon's going to win this race? Who's going to be on the podium? I'm going to go. We'll go through the order, and then I'll do my my thoughts. So Amadi taking that provisional pole, 2/10 in it at the end. We thought Thelemy had snatched it by a couple of hundredths, but Portuguese, but he gets P2. You've got Portuguese on P3, and AJ joined him on the second row. He'll be absolutely chuffed with that. Barca nicking that P5 from Adamako in P6. Brid P7, Kizgi's P8, Katamise and Linazukan round off the top 10. Dan Morrison P11 on his first out in the season, joined by Big Raki. Devil Rejected 13, and Danny Down on P14. We've got Lethal Strike on his first out for us on P15, joined by a newbie Andy on 16, Cygate P17, and Iron Man Dan on P18. I think we will be... yeah, I think we'll do a drugs test on him. Right, while they're sorting out their strategy... And we've got rain! It's raining in Miami. Party in the city where the heat is on. Party in the city where the break dawn. Going to Miami. It's raining in Miami. Absolutely incredible. We had a start of a wet race last race in Singapore, and we've got one now. So I was going to go through my strategies of, oh yes, strategies are going to be medium to hard. But no, it's raining. Is it going to be full wets? Is it raining enough to be full wets? It looks potentially, but will 1 or 2 try the intermediates? We'll see. So who's going to win? Who's going to win? Who's going to win? I'm going to go. Let's go for Thelemy. Let's go for Thelemy. Get Thelemy for his first win. I don't know how strong everyone is on Miami, but I'll go for Thelemy. I'll go for Amadi. And let's get Adam on that podium for getting held up in his quali lap. And we haven't been joined, unfortunately, by as the lights are out, the cars are underway, and Amadi gets a good start. Everyone looks like they've got away well. Keyskis are dropping a couple of places, but Thelemy does make a dive, forces Amadi off the track, but joins that position. There's a little bit of bumping with Portuguese who slides around, which might give a bit of opening for AJ. And Portuguese has dropped a few places after that little bit of contact. And Barcelona has had major contact and dropped to the back of the grid. I bet he's been squeezed off there. I had a little love tap. And so with Brid too, they've both gone off. And who knows what's happened there. But that is unfortunate. It is wet, so it is tricky for a lot of the drivers. Thelmy's managed to pull away a little bit with Amadi in second. AJ up to P3 with was that a safety car or is it a VSC? It's a VSC. So with the I wonder why everyone was going a little bit slow. Watch those deltas, guys. We don't want no penalties. Yeah, it must have been the old contact with Brid and Barca. So watch your times, especially getting to the end. Otherwise my Italian hand will come out. I won't be happy. Wow. As you know, I said earlier about this isn't really a favourite for drivers. It's pretty much like driving on a car park, but it's a good one for the fans, especially like, your spectators, because Craig. Sorry, Craig. I don't know why the game hasn't let you join. Hopefully you're watching the stream, and we can get you in next week if you're with us. Has Brid has joined Barca. Has Barca gone off again, or are they just having a bit of squabbling? Who knows? Is it an illegal overtake? What's going on there with Brid and Barca? Stop it. Stop slapping. Is that Barca with the damage? And they're racing. They're underway again. It's quite touchy. There's quite a few overtakes. Are they doing it at the correct time, though? As Iron Man Dan is out. And I think he's lost it. He's lost on the final corner, lost his traction. And that's him out. It's just a VSC at the moment. And there's 1 or 2 that have had to hit, it looks like. Fast has got an Italian hand gesture, but was that him? Did he get pushed over the line? It's one for the stewards, as they're all having new wings. Big Raki, Barca and Cygate, so they've all had a bit of contact, and it is a full safety car, so they're not losing that much. Yeah, unfortunately we might not be able to get that removed, because you'll have to serve it in the race, mate. So sorry about that. Yes, I've been informed by the guys it's the second wet race in a row, and yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. Hopefully it dries up for you and it doesn't stay wet. But what it does do is it does test the drivers, challenges them. Yeah, I was saying, yes, it's a good track for spectators, because apparently if you walk around the top deck of the Hard Rock Stadium, you can actually see every single corner of the track, which is quite unheard of for any track, really. So if these back 3 cars can get to the back of that train, we should only hopefully do that 1 lap under the safety car. Safety car is sitting there. It's waiting. It's sitting like a pervert, waiting for that Thelemy to come round. So order. We're only on lap 2. A long way to go, and there will be at least another pit stop for everybody. Unless I can't see the guys that are pit already do all the way to the end. Tyre wear is still a bit crap, no matter what tyre you're on. But we have Thelemy. We'll see where people have moved from. So Thelemy has moved up and exchanged places with Amadi. Was a bit touchy and aggressive on that turn 1. But no damage, so I don't think Amadi will worry about it too much, especially with the safety car. We've got AJ, currently in P3. He'll be absolutely chuffed with that. Adamako up 2 into P4, and his teammate right up behind him in P5, up 3 places. Well done, Catamise. Portuguese has actually one of the bigger losers, who's dropped down 3 places to P6. Giza, Mr. Consistent. I told you, Mr. Consistent in P7 still, going strong. We've got Linazukan, the number 1 Haas driver in P8. Dan Morris up in to P9 with his teammate, who's up 6 places, Andy. He'll be happy with that first start of the season with Lights Out League Racing. Be interesting to see how he gets on. Devil Rejected, P11, he's up as well. Danny Dine, who's going somewhere. Where are you going? Moving on. Stop messing me about, I'm trying to read. P12, and then Lethal Strike up into P13, so I think he'll be quite happy with that too. As we're just waiting for the last couple of cars to join this train. Can you get there before the end of this lap? Come on, guys. And then we've got Brid, who's dropped. Big Raki, who's dropped quite a lot. And then Barcelona, who's one of the biggest droppers, down to P16. Can he work his way back through the field? It'd be a nice, good challenge for him. I know he didn't really have a setup, but that's your fault. It's not the first time you've raced on this game. You need to stop playing poker or playing with yourself. And the safety car is in this lap. The 2 cars should be able to join on. And Thelemy, how long is he going to be holding this safety car up for? So let's get those tyres back on. We don't need that anymore. Just Barca with that penalty, and like I said, unless if he pits, we won't be able to rescind it, unfortunately. Thelemy just waiting for that safety car to get in the pits, which it has. Dan Morris has hit the back of Giza under the safety car. Don't tell me it's come out again. And it's away. No, it hasn't. And Thelemy's away, and he's caught Amadeus snapping a little bit. What was going on with that safety car announcement? But he's away. Does he like the rain? Is he in Otter? As Andy looks to overtake Dan, and I think he's just let his teammate back in. Andy has that retired? Has he retired? Did he have a collision? He's still got his wings, so I don't know what happened there. But the yellow flags are out. It doesn't look like a safety car's come out. Well, that's unfortunate. I was looking forward to see how you're going to get on. And they are underway. They're racing again. And there's only half a second now between Amadi Thalami. AJ, no one's changed positions as such, but will they try and do it down the straight? It's hardly a straight. It's a bit of a worm. Because it's got a couple of corners in it, but they're not really that many corners because you're going flat out. As no one's looking to make that brave move yet. No one's quite close yet. As AJ's actually been dropped by those front two. So he is actually best to the rest of the moment. It's Lethal Strike and Brid are battling. Lethal Strike jumps ahead of Brid with a great overtake down turn 11 and 12. Will he try and battle through the Mickey Mouse? No, you'd be unwise to do it there. There's no room. There's no room for one car, let alone two. It's all single file down the straight. Will anyone look to do an early move? With it being wet, I don't know if it's going to look at clearing up at all. Only the drivers will know. I don't think anyone can tell me either, so we'll just have to keep an eye what goes on. The two Mercedes, again, looking at claiming some good points as Ahmadi's showing that speed by getting that fastest lap currently, and he's right up the back end of Thalami, showing his dominance and his consistency. Thalami with a little bit of wiggle. And Sygate, you're getting it. Italian hand gesture for speeding in the pit lane. You did that all on your own. I know it's wet. And he's changed on to inters. He's having a risk. I don't know if it's looking that dry yet to go on inters. It's still looking like there's a bit of a spray and loads of puddles. Risky from Sygate, but it could pay off. It could pay off. We'll have to keep an eye on his times. Amadi has jumped Thalami. Thalami is right up behind him, potentially looking to retake that lead as Amadi squeezes. Did not leave him enough room. As Thalami is looking to retake the position on the inside of turn 11. And Amadi knows better to fight there. Maybe trying to look at doing a switchback as Thalami does go wide on the corner. The side by side going round turn 12. But Amadi will have the inside. He's going to get squeezed. He gets left enough room. But they go side by side with the Mickey Mouse. And Amadi backs out of that one. Like I said in the last, it is tight there as we now have Brid and Barcelona going side by side in the Mickey Mouse. And Brid, I think, concedes the position to Barca, but Barca has a little bit of a wiggle coming round out of the chicane, out of turn 16. As AJ has now taken P1. There's some battling down this straight, and AJ has capitalised. Well, Amadi and Thalami have been battling, and so has Adamako. He's got himself up to P3, and Thalami has gone from the lead from P2 down to P4. Now that shows how strong the straight and the ERS can be. We've got a yellow flag. Is that Big Racky? Big Racky's had a spin. He is the self-confessed Mr. Spin. Oh no. Big Racky, what have you done? You can't drive backwards. Oh, you can't drive backwards. I hope you're still in the game. I think you're not. Oh, I know what you're trying to do. But the game's just screwed you over there. You can't. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. So we've lost Big Racky. It's not a safety car. As Thalami has retaken the position ahead of Amadi. A little bit of a wiggle there. Nearly hitting the wall. You've got to leave enough space as Amadi jump back up to P2. As Thalami and Amadi battling hard. It's great racing, especially in the wet, and it's difficult to do. As Thalami is now on the inside, will Amadi look at doing switchback, and he's out-braked himself, gone so wide out the corner of turn 11, and that means Adamako has capitalised, and so has Katamis. The Mercedes drivers coming on through, and Thalami just getting too quick on the and slow on the brakes, and has lost a couple of positions. He's done that twice in 2 laps, and yeah, just lost it. We've got AJ now in the lead of the race. As he's not close enough with Amadi behind, but will the Mercedes boys now look at trying to catch Amadi? Adamako's quick and can pull his teammate with him. Will Amadi be under threat? Some good action there at the front of the grid, and AJ will be licking his lips and overjoyed at being in the position he's in. So Portuguese beast still consistent in P6, but he's potentially joined a bit of the action now. not far up behind Katamise as Dan Morris jumps ahead of Devil's Rejected. And up to P8. Devil Rejected with Linda Zukin right behind the other Haas car, right behind, going looking outside of turn 1. Is there enough space to overtake the AlphaTauri? There's not, as Devil Rejected does leave him plenty of room, but they're going single fire, and it's great clean racing from Linda Zukin as Thelemy and Katamise battling hard, going round the S-bends of turns 5 and 6, bumping wheels as Thelemy just hits Katamise, but Katamise is on the inside of the corner. Thelemy is on the outside, so should get better traction off the corner, and does get away, but Katamise is going to be battling hard down that straight, and all that in all that meanwhile, Portuguese is right with them also. And we'll look at capitalising and overtaking Thelemy. Katamise is in ahead now with a faster wing setup. Thelemy going on the inside. Katamise leaves him plenty of room. Portuguese has got nowhere to go, so he's stuck. He's stuck behind Katamise. There's nowhere to go. He's side by side with Thelemy. Is he going to concede that Portuguese concedes the corner? That's very wise battling there from Portuguese. And all that while has brought Kisa in as well. Mr. Consistent will look to go up the grid and battle with these. We've now got a 4-battle race for P4, and AJ is now done by Amadi down the straight, going down to turn 17. It's pretty much straightforward. AJ's not going to fight it. He knows there's plenty of the race to go, and his good buddy Adamako is now in P3, and it's a battle for 3 drivers for P1 as Portuguese has managed to make the overtake on Thelemy. He had a little bit of wiggle going out of turn 18 over the line, and the side-by-side going into turn 1, but Portuguese screams past with a crazy setup wherever he's got there. Thelemmy's trying to look and fight back on turn 1 in the inside, but Portuguese has made that comfortable setup and has now got eyes for Katamise. Giza is sniffing just in case something happens ahead. We've got Dan, who's got Devil Rejected closing in on him. He has dropped to Linazukin, who I think potentially had a little bit of a wiggle. Unfortunately, I think the Inters haven't quite kicked in yet for Cygate. Still not the right tire to go on. If it was, I think Jeff would tell us. Or Mark. It's Mark now, isn't it? And Mark Goldbridge, and welcome to the United Stand. No, you can change it to Jeff, but why would you? They're both shit. Hopefully they give us somebody that's useful in F124. Only a month to go now, guys, not long. And that's why I'm so pleased we've got a near full grid as it's coming to the end of era of F123. Devil Rejected just staying in a consistent distance. Not being able to close enough to Dan yet, so Dan's going well. He'll be happy with his P8. Let's have a look how we're getting on the front. So AJ has been dropped a little bit by Amadi. Adam is following suit with as Portuguese jumps ahead of Katamise down the straight. Going down to turn 17. Is Katamise going to try and fight back with the slipstream? The slipstream is powerful. A little bit of wiggle from Katamise and makes the overtake again. That's 2 overtakes in one straight. It shows how effective that slipstream can be. Oh, a bump from Portuguese. His slide's coming out of turn 17. Lose a bit of traction. He's going to try and fight back going down to turn 1. There's Barca and Brid battling further down, but we'll keep an eye on this one as Portuguese is looking to make the overtake on the outside. Gives Katamise enough space on the inside. And the locking wheels. The locking wheels which has brought Thelemy back in to the race. I think Katamise's tyres are not at the right temperature, and he's lost a position now to Thelemy, who makes the overtake, and Giza is right up behind Katamise as well. They just locked wheels and couldn't get out of it. No one conceded the position. I don't think it was necessarily anyone's fault. They just couldn't get out of it. As we'll go back to and see how Boss and Brid have got on. They were battling a bit, so I don't know whether a bit of contact has gone on or someone slid, but Boss is now a second and also ahead of Brid and looking to catch up to Danny Dine in P11 as Cygate speeds in the pit lane again. You're getting a double Italian hand gesture. Hey, what are you doing? Is he going back on the wets? No, he's retired. He's had enough. Lethal Strike's overtaking him, and he's thought he's a bit too far behind. Sorry to lose your Cygate. It was the first race of the season. It was a risk. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off this time as Thelemy has overtaken Portuguese just ahead of the Mickey Mouse. It's not a common place to overtake, but he's being shown his aggressive racing stance here. They are 8 seconds now behind the top 3. with all the battling that's going on. So at the moment, podium isn't for the taking unless there's another safety car comes out. But it is bragging rights for best of the rest, and you can see how tetchy it is still. And like I say, it's a bit unfortunate for Sygate going on the intermediates. Wasn't the way to go, unfortunately. He's got Portuguese right up behind, and no, we lost. Is that Linazukan? Linazukan span on turn 17 as he had a nick. He wasn't with anybody, so I think he's just lost it on traction, and he's down to P12 and he's lost it behind his teammates. I think he's jumping in the pits. No, he's gone round. It's actually Brid that's jumped into the pits. So I don't know if he's got any damage. We'll have a look. But he could jump in and jump onto some newer wets. He's jumping onto the immediates. So does he think that it's going to be drying up? And is making the early call. It still looks pretty wet to me, but we'll have to see how he gets on. As Adamako jumps ahead of AJ. Down the straight, going down to turn 11. And it looks comfortable. Again, they're both wise season racers, good mates. They're not going to be risking anything too crazy. There's still 19 laps to go, but the Armady has lost them now. He's 3 seconds ahead, and he's just unreal at the moment. He's just great form, and he's unbeatable. Is he going to do the clean sweep? I think he's got the fastest lap currently, so we'll have to see how he gets on. And we'll keep an eye on Brid's time, on how he does on the intermediates. So AJ not close enough to get to Adamako. The pack behind are catching, now 7 seconds behind. Thelemy, Portuguese, just the two of them now looking to catch up. Are they going to work together to try and get to that podium position? They have lost Katamise, who's battling hard with Kisa Giza. Kisa Giza's on the inside, and Katamise is jumping into the pits. And is Thelemy. So they're looking to do the undercuts. Neither, thankfully, get that Italian hand gesture. You're safe. And Thelemmy's jumping onto the intermediates. Well, Katamise is doing the same, so it must be slightly drier to be better on the intermediates. As Brid is catching Linazukin. So it looks like intermediates might be the tyre. We'll have to get used to it after a lap, but this could be a big call. It'll save him a lot of time, undercutting and going on faster tyres. And this could mean a couple of positions for them. So we'll keep an eye on that. As Thelemy looks like he is gaining Katamise and Linazukin, real life friends. Katamise goes a little bit wide. He's going to get used to those tyres. He's right up behind Linazukin. Linazukin, it's got better traction off that corner. Linazukin's not going to battle him. He knows he's on a different strategy. But look how... And Thelemy is catching a lot of time onto Barca as well. So it's got it. That is the way to go. As AJ is still sticking with Adamaki. He's not going to want to get out of that DRS. Now this is just in case the track dries up and DRS does open. But you want to stay in that second to stay within the slipstream as well. So still that battle for P2. And AJ's looking hot for a podium. As Adamako's going in the pits, and he's got to be going on those intermediates. And AJ carries on round, a bit of clean air. And Armadi's gone round as well. As Thelemmy's closed up in on Barcelona. As Giza's jumping in the pits, Dan Morris is jumping in the pits. And will they jump on the intermediate as well? It makes sense for them to do so. As Dan and Giza right together. Dan must be absolutely chuffed with his race so far, and they are. Now these guys, it showed last week of when it went on to intermediates to the slicks. A couple of cars went a couple of laps early, and Brid takes that fastest lap on the inters. So it's showing how quick these tyres are. Now this is gonna throw some positions out of place. Dan Morris comes out in P10, but there is some cars to pit ahead of him. Those cars in front in the top four, and AJ, AJ, you should have gone in. I'm rooting for you to get that podium. I really, really want you to get that podium, but you could be at threat. from the undercut from the Inters. There's only the 4 cars now, and they've got to be going in the pits. They've got to be going in the pits now. As we'll see Amadi coming round. None of the intermediates are close to each other. Adamako is right up on the back end of Devil Rejected, and we'll look at potentially doing an overtake, and it's showing how quick the tyres are, and Adamako does make that overtake. I don't think Devil's going to battle too hard. It'll be stupid to do so. And what's that, 11 seconds? About 18, 19 seconds, maybe in 20 seconds, as Amadi is in the pits on the Inters. Will Adamako come out close? I think he's going to nip into that second position, though. As AG and Portuguese are both in. Devil Rejected in as well. They're all in the pits now onto those Inters. And Adamako has just come behind as Thelemy gets that fastest lap. And Adamako's come up right behind Amadi. So Amadi is quite fortunate that he went in when he did. As AJ has dropped down to P3. Thelemy, P4. Katamise and Portuguese battling as Portuguese comes out of the pit. They're battling again. Will their wheels lock as Katamise has got back into battle, and it shows on the inside of that blind corner and gets spun round by Portuguese. Was he left enough room? Was he left enough room? Was there enough space for him to go there? I'm sure he'll be sent towards the stewards. He's just got to get his tyres back to temperature. He's back down to P9. Got Dan Morris right behind him. He'll look to capitalise on the tyre temperatures of Katamise. He's got to get his head straight and see if he can work his way back up for the Mercedes team. So currently, Adamako has actually overtaken Amadi. They're in the Mickey Mouse chicane, and Adamako is now P1. Now it is just these two. It's a 2-horse race, so P1. AJ down in P3, who's battling for that podium position with Thelemy, and then the 6 seconds on Portuguese in P5, who'll be looking to. You can see the cars in front. If we move that bloody sign out of the way, all this advertising, we don't need enough advertising. As Thelemy makes the overtake and on AJ, but outbrakes himself again. He outbrakes himself again. It's not the first time he's done it this race. He's not used to these wet conditions. He's probably not a wet racer like me. But AJ has capitalised and pulled away. He's 3.5 seconds ahead of Thelemy now, so he's just got to get his head down, try and get a gap away from Thelemy. As Adam has currently got the provisional fastest lap. As my phone just went off on my stream. And we're back. And Adamak has pulled some gap ahead as Barson now takes the provisional fastest lap, and Lenazukin gets the first official track limits penalty, as everyone else has had to do their 5-second collision penalties, which was Dan and Barson, I think so, who are currently down in 10th and 11th respectively. So Amity is caught up to Adamako. I think they must have slightly different setups to satisfy the... don't worry, Sygate. It is a tricky one, especially in the wet. And Amadi, currently in P2, is going to look at potentially doing an overtake now to go back into P1. AJ comfortable at the moment in P3. And fingers crossed for you, halfway through to get that P3. Is Amadi looking to overtake on the inside of turn 17. Adamaki leaves him plenty of space, but they look at doing a switchback. No, he goes on the outside. Knows that you're going to get better traction off the corner on the outside of this corner. And he does. He goes back into P1, but will they battle going down to turn 1? Sygate was in a Ferrari last season, sorry. Amadi, no, he's not going to battle there. So great driving from those two. We don't have anyone really close enough. We've got Katamise, who's up behind Brid. He's managed to pull back a bit of time with Dan Morris up behind Katamise as well. Katamise just pulling Dan along for now, but it could be a potential 3-horse race for P8, which is nothing to cry about. We always give points for every position, and P8 you get some decent points for your team. Alfa Romeo boys looking good currently in P6 and P8. Katamise is now a little bit closer to Brid. Can he get close enough to him to nip past him in the straights? Katamise keeps falling out. He's still not quite close enough, but Dan has pulled a little bit closer as well. They just need a couple of tenths closer to each other, and then there'll be some battling into the corners. Ahmadi still in P2, close behind Adamako. Will he look at saving his ERS? I've turned the ERS off this week. I want to surprise later on in the race to see how people have managed it and what they're left to battle with near the last few laps. We're still not looking at drying up, but it is an intermediate light rain. Will we get it drying up for the last couple of laps at all? Only the drivers will know, like I said. As Dan is getting a little bit closer to Katamise, who is a little bit closer to Brid. And AJ, he's consolidated that P3 for now. He's pulled a bit of more gap away from Thelemy. And they are close now for these three. Lethal Strike getting that track limits warning. It is a difficult one. It is his first race with us. It's nice to have him join us. Reserving for us in the Alpines. Stan's just fell out. They've just fell out again, so we'll back and see how the top two are doing. It is a two-horse race as Adamako has been jumped by Ahmadi, but he's not giving it up. Ahmadi holding the inside, so Adamako is going to look for the outside, but don't know if he'll get left enough room. Ahmadi does just give him enough space. Can seize it potentially as Adamako makes a great overtake on the inside of turn 12. That looping bulb, it's like the end of a penis. Loops round. Mickey chicane on the exits of turn 16. Is Ahmadi close enough? Adamako is. And Thelemy getting that 3-second penalty. That'll do no good for his claim for podium and puts him under threat from Portuguese, who's only just under 2 seconds behind him now. And Adamako does get jumped by Ahmadi down to turn 17. It's going to be to and through. It's Ahmadi! 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 Did he outbrake himself then? Ahmadi's, it looks like he's outbroken himself. And has lost place to Adamako and just highly defends AJ to stop him overtaking for P2. But AJ is now in contention for P2. And that has pushed Adamako into the first place with a comfortable 5-second gap. And it means that Ahmadi is going to have to put his foot down and just... Oh, a little bit of drifting for Kami's there. Fast and Furious Miami drift. No. To be fair, I think as the saga's grown on, there's a new appreciation for Tokyo Drift. It was complete because it was completely different and just had a little cameo. Everyone just thought it was pretty crap, but I'd say it's one of the best out of the saga, to be honest. As Katamise has done the overtake on Brid. Dan Morris still sniffing behind, trying to capitalise, but Barta has caught up to Dan Morris as well. And looking potentially to make that overtake. AJ sticking with Ahmadi in P2, and while they're battling, it will mean that the two behind of Thelemy and Portuguese can get a little bit closer. They still are 4 seconds, so there's still quite a lot of gap to catch up, and Ahmadi is actually catching up. He's caught up by a second and has dropped AJ a little bit. So Ahmadi's got to go hell for leather to get back to Adamako, and Adamako potentially a little bit of fuel saving, ERS saving. I think you can, especially in these conditions, you can get the ERS back quite swiftly. So it'll be interesting to see how much he puts his foot down. He's gaining fast. Tenths are dropping quickly. He has dropped AJ, so AJ's probably thinking, I'm not going to battle too hard here. I don't want Thelemy catching too much, as he's still got that comfortable 4 seconds. And Portuguese is gradually getting closer. He is currently P4, net P4 with Thelemy's penalty. As Dan and Barca battling. Barca's looking to take the inside on turn 1. Dan Morris defends well, gives him no, shuts the door firmly in his face. Says you're going to have to try again next time. Not this time! But may look at trying to do it down the straight. But Dan does have the slipstream of Brid also, who has the slipstream of Katamise also. So we've got a 4-way battle for that P8. And we've lost, who have we lost there? It's Dan Morris. No, he's been overtaken by Barca though, down the straight. Clean overtake, no battling there. It's I think it was lethal. Yeah, it was lethal strike. Had a little bit of a spin round the S's of 2 and 3. It does happen if you're not used to the wet. I hate the wet. I just can't. At the intermediates I'm fine, but wet tyres now. Pass. I'm just too hesitant with him as Amadi now gets that fastest lap back. He's pushing hard, and you can see by his time he's now only 2.5 seconds now behind with 10 laps to go. As Portuguese makes that overtake on Thelemy on turn 1. Side by side, Thelemy, we know that he battles hard, but he can't battle there, and Portuguese makes that overtake. Thelemy will look to try and retake it. Portuguese slams the door on his face. I don't think Thelemmy's got any damage there, but he'll look at battling back potentially down the straight. After turn 7 is Danny Dine. I haven't seen much of Danny Dine, but he's overtaken Brid. Have we lost Brid? He's gone into the pits. He's just gone to fresh intermediates. So yeah, he pitted quite early, didn't he? And hasn't been able to go to the end, unfortunately. So Danny Dine jumps up to P11. Nice and consistent race. I think he's been a bit of a lonely figure. Oh, Brid. There's an Italian hand gesture for that as well. Don't cross that white line. Yeah, a bit of a lonely figure really, but he's just kept it quiet, kept it clean, just doing his own race, and he's in P11. So great drive from Mr. Danny Dine, the old Dutchman. So let's look at Katamise. He's got Barca up behind him, who's closed in. He's trying to push him around that Mickey Mouse. His Katamise tyres worn off a little bit. He's got a couple of laps older than a lap older than the 2 cars behind, so it shouldn't be that effective. But maybe Barca's just found his feet now. Potentially going to look at doing the overtake on Katamise. It's going to be a late break into turn 17. He's on the inside. Katamise just slightly moving over, goes on the outside, chooses not to squeeze him too hard and give himself a better traction on the outside. Does he get it to his Barca ahead? Barca is currently ahead. It's going over the start-finish line. A great overtake there from Barca up to P8, with Dan Morris sniffing behind in case they have any instances. Katamise is looking to fight back on turn 1, looking on the outside again to do a switchback potentially. But Barca's held the position. And great battling from those two. As Barcelona up to P8 for the Haas. And Linazukan would not like me to say, but Barca is the current number 1 Haas driver. Even though it is his first race of the season, I hope he joins us for the rest of the season. It is great to see him on the grid. Who knows where he would be if he didn't have that first lap spin, so or incident, let's say. We don't know what's happened. As we look at the front 2 now, as Amadi's now closed in to 1.2 seconds behind Adamaku, 9 laps to go. It doesn't mean it's the end for Adamaku, it just means he'll be battling to the end. AJ, who's comfortably in P3 now, just keep it on the track. Now, I don't want to do a commentator's curse, but I want you to have that podium. I really want you to have that podium. You've been Mr. P4 for seasons and seasons. Get that podium, and there's nothing better than getting one on a wet race. So AJ P3, and I've got a brown nose now. Sorry. We're in Manchester, aren't we? Sorry. We've got Portuguese in currently P4, who's not really closing that gap that much. It's 3 seconds, so there's only about 4/10 down on AJ. Who's caught up on AJ, so can he get any closer? Hopefully for AJ. No. We've got Felamy, who's now in comfortable P5. He's got 10 seconds behind Keys Geezer in P6, who's actually gained a couple of places. So Mr. Consistent. So he's a bit of a lonely figure on his own at the moment. But I can be happy with that P6. As Brid gets that fastest lap, he's showing some pace on those newer tyres. And that will take that clean sweep of Amadi. And I think everyone will be cheering that. Round of applause. And Portuguese gets a 3-second time penalty, which will hamper his podium. And AJ will be absolutely laughing. AJ will be absolutely laughing. Portuguese was pushing so hard, he's given himself those track limits and has given himself a penalty. So yeah, round of applause for Brids with current fastest lap. Pushing on those new intermediates, currently in P12. Dan Morris is right up behind Katamise now, who has been dropped. Barca has pushed and pulled away from these two. Darren Morris will look at doing the overtake. I think Katamise is struggling a little bit. Is the track? No, it's still light rain. As they're going through the Mickey Mouse, will Dan look at doing an overtake on this straight down to turn 17. He is close enough, so we could see it happen. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do his pants down. He's going to do it. He's looking on the inside. Has he got enough in his tank? Katamise is staying on the outside, potentially looking to do a switchback. As Dan Morris makes the overtake, and Katamise is not battling too hard now. He knows he can stick with him and fight back going down to turn 1. Oh, and he slips. He loses back end and nearly goes. Manages to control the car. We could have seen some classic footage there, but some great work there from Katamise to keep it on the track. Tried to push back to try and fight down turn 1 and just lost a little bit of traction going down over the start finish. So yeah, that's a bit of a damp squib, that fight there. Amadi now only 4/10 behind Adamaco. They're going to be battling hard with 7 laps to go. AJ's 2.5 seconds ahead of Portuguese, but that does equate to 5.5 with the penalties. So AJ is going to be just trying to keep it comfortable, try not to get herself a penalty. As Amadeus, now 8/10 Adamaco. We know that he can race, and he'll be absolutely seething from the quali. But if he gets a win out of this, he'll be jumping for joy and putting a little bit dent into Amadeus' title charge. A small dent. Amadeus will get that P2 at least, unless he spins off or has an incident. But getting on the top step instead of Amadi will just tarnish that start of the championship for Amadi. Amadi, Devil's rejected. Representative for the AlphaTauri today. His teammate Ox says I think he's stepped down for the season. As Dan Morris makes, and Katamise battling hard. Again down to turn 17. Dan Morris on the outside, but Katamise looks to make the overtake on the inside. Gets better traction off turn 17. And is ahead. Going over the start-finish line. It was totally different on the last lap with a little bit of a wiggle. But Dan hasn't got enough to fight back on turn 1. Great battle in those there, and we might see it going on until the end of the race. Dan is still quite close, but I don't think he's going to force it. And he's not going to try and push it round the S-bends here. But will he have enough to fight back going down after turn 8? Nearly gets outbroken. We know Katamise brakes a little bit earlier. We've had 1 or 2 discussions in the league chat about Katamise braking, and he does brake a little bit sooner than you'd expect, but it is the driver's responsibility in behind to be able to react to a car in front's braking, and especially in the wet conditions you've got to be more considerate with your own braking. As Katamise goes wide, out brakes himself. I said he brakes early, but he's broke late there, and Dan Morris is capitalised in the penis, and the penis corner. He hasn't capitalised the penis. In the penis corner, and is ahead going out of the Mickey Mouse. But Katamise will want to look to do the overtake again. We've seen 1 or 2 people out braking. It is hard conditions in the wet. of your braking point. It's totally different in the dryers. Katamiz looks at doing the overtake again. Nice clean overtake. Pulling over to the braking line. Great laces there as Dan Morris just slightly pushes. Pushes around the corner and makes the overtake again. He's got better traction going out the corner, so he's set up slightly better. Must be slightly better than Katamiz, because the outside line should be the better traction line, and Dan Morris makes that overtake again. And he's ahead going into turn 1, so we might see that jostle, that battle for the next few laps. Adam Macker's still ahead, 5 laps to go. Is Ahmadi buying his time? I'm going to have a look at... So Ahmad Macker has slightly more ERS, but not much more. So it's neck and neck to the finish. It's going to be neck and neck to the finish as Ahmadi's squirting it. He's absolutely squirting it now. Adamako's like, go on then, you can do it. As Devil rejected and Barcelona being quite aggressive going down into turn 11, but makes the overtake on Devil rejected. And Ahmadi and Adam battling as we're going around the final corner. And Adamaka still remains ahead. The Devil rejected try and fight back that position from Barcelona. It looks to slightly aggressive, a little bit of bumping wheels, but if it was and didn't seem like a racing incident, I'm sure either or would add it to the steward's room. I think Boss is pulling away now and has got that P7. It's Katamiz and Dan fighting again hard as Katamiz has the inside now. Dan has a little bit of wiggle going out of turn 17, but he's got the better traction and remains in P10, P9. And Katamiz looking on the inside for turn 1. Is he going to make that dive? No, he just slots him behind and thinks better of it. Great clean racing from these pair. Know each other for a while. They've been racing with each other for a while in the league. For a few seasons now. Know how each other battle, and it's great racing. It's great to see. Devil rejected has slightly been dropped now by Barca, who's now up to P7. Giza going strong in P6. But Thelemy in P5. Portuguese now right up the back of AJ. He's only got 4 laps to go, but can he stay within those 3 seconds? He needs to stay in ahead of him as much as possible, and then he's got those 3 seconds to play with. He does not want to let him past easily and then let him pull away. As Katamiz and overtakes Dan Morris down there, straight down to turn 11. They're jostling hard. Ahmadi still behind in P2. Katamiz not right and slow around the penis. It's now been dubbed the penis. Are you listening, F1? Are you listening? It's the penis. If you don't want people to call it penis, call it pen 15. Is it 10? No, it's turn 12. Pen 12. It doesn't have the same ring. Katamiz is just enough ahead. Is Dan going to look at doing the overtake? He does not. He doesn't have enough in him to do it, unfortunately for him. And still, he's going on the inside. Katamiz's going a little bit wide, has a bit of a wiggle. Does that give Dan Morris the impetus to it? No, he's just slightly behind. May want to look at doing the overtake in turn 1. As Ahmadi's still stuck behind Adamako. Can't make the overtake. He's now a second behind. As Dan still remains behind. Ahmadi can't make that overtake on Adamako yet with 3 laps to go. AJ still has Portuguese, half a second behind with 3 laps to go. AJ's going to be battling hard for this position. And he'll deserve it. And at the moment, he'll be my driver of the day. Don't care what the game says. The game can kiss my ass. Looks like Portuguese got a better run off the corner. Will he look at doing the overtake as Lethal Strike claims that fastest lap with his brand new Inters? Will Linazukin look at doing the same? But that's just another slap in the face for Ahmadi. As Portuguese is still struggling to make that overtake on AJ. AJ getting a slightly better run off that corner. And Ahmadi is still stuck behind Adamako. Adamako's doing so well here. Now he's had Ahmadi battling hard. He's got Linazukan. Will he let these guys pass? He's got no one to battle. It'd be wise for Linazukan just to get out of the way and not let them drive through him. It is a bit of an interference and distraction when you're trying to drive through a back marker. I'd advise him to move out of the way. But then also Adamako would get a bit of a slipstream off Linazukan down the straight. So I think Adamako will be like, move. In a minute, please. At the corner, move out of the way. Unless Linazukan is a bit quicker on the intermediates, we'll see. That blue flag's waving. Catanese is still ahead of Dan Morris. Dan Morris has not been able to make that overtake yet. We've got 2 laps to go, and we're still, as we are, battling hard to keep the drivers behind. Ahmadi is right up behind Adamako, but Adamako has the slipstream of Linazukan. Linazukan, you're gonna let them pass now. Don't get in the way. Don't affect these. As Thelemy gets another penalty, that still won't affect his position with Keys 13 seconds behind. Ahmadi right up behind Adamako. Adamako's got Linazukan there. Linazukan's going to be, like I said, get out of the way, Linazukan. Don't affect it. We don't want you to be in the middle of after race cries. As Ahmadi's right up behind now. He's going to look at doing an overtake. As Brid has left a second. What's happened to Brid? What's happened to Brid? 2 laps to go. Let me see if I can re-invite Brid quickly. I don't know if he's just lost... Brid's back in. Don't know what happened to him. I just lost a bit of connection. As Ahmadi still up behind Adamako. Portuguese is right up behind AJ. We've got a lap and a half to go. It cannot be any closer. Katamis has dropped Dan Morris now for that battle for P9. Devil Rejected P8 has been dropped by Barcelona. These are where the battles are now. It's a battle for P1. It's a battle for P3. But AJ he's got a lap and a half to go, and he's got 3.5 seconds on Portuguese. Portuguese still not making that overtake. He might be thinking he's not going to gain 3.5 seconds on AJ, so might just stay behind him for the rest of the race, which is also nice of him not to try and force it. But it is this top 2. And Adamako pushing hard. He's a second ahead of Ahmadi with a lap to go. Thelemy gets another penalty. That's 9 seconds for Thelemy. There's still not enough. I'll double check that. 9 seconds, aye. But it's still not enough for Giza. Portuguese just on the inside of AJ. AJ goes a little bit wide. Coming out the final corner. Portuguese slots up back behind AJ. AJ's not giving it up. He's like, no, you're not. Get out of the way. He's flying like an eagle with his wings spread wide. His tyres have probably dropped off a little bit, but he's not letting Portuguese pass. There's one of finishing P3, but finishing P3 on the track is a lot sweeter than finishing with the penalties. We're on the final lap. We've got half a lap to go. Ahmadi, a second by Adamako. Adamako has surely got this in the bag. If he's got judges breaking points, judge them correctly. You do not go on and go wide. Even if you break a little bit earlier, just do not go wide. Otherwise, that will be you screwed. Ahmadi will capitalise on this. He's an absolute machine. Like it said in the chat, he needs a drugs test. He's just an absolute machine. As AJ and Portuguese battling. As we're going around the Mickey Mouse, around the penis. AJ's on the inside, but Portuguese has the inside. Going around the Mickey Mouse. Do not get a penalty, AJ. AJ, no! No, you've got to stay ahead of him. Oh, AJ, no. Unless you feel like you were forced off the track by Portuguese. He does look and do the overtake down to turn 17. He's got the slipstream. Will he have a better traction off the corner? Sorry, we missed that. Adamako takes first position. Ahmadi takes second. Who's going to get P3? AJ is Got better traction off the corner. Comes home in P3. Well done, AJ. Portuguese home in P4. And Thelemy coming home in P5. I did miss Adamako, but congratulations to him for getting that win in the wet Miami. Armady battled hard, but just couldn't get close enough for P2. AJ, and again, that last minute penalty. You had my heart racing, mate. Coming in P3 with Portuguese battling hard. Again, getting that to P4. Thelemy coming in P5. Keys with Mr. Consistent, P6. Barcelona with a nice P7. Devil Rejected coming home with a valiant P8. Katamis getting some decent points there. What could have been for him as well with his Mercedes teammate coming home in P9. A little bit of a wiggle, a little bit of spin, a little bit of Macaulay Minogue. Dan Morris on his first race for us coming home in P10 of the season. Bridge coming home in P11. A good race from him. Dammy Dine, nice and consistent, coming home in P12. Must have just got nipped by a bridge later on. Lethal Strike coming home for his first finish and getting some value, getting some fantastic points for the Alpine team and for himself. Coming home P13, and then Linazukin finishing up the finishers in P14. What a race that was! What a race that was! Oh my God, I'm sweating! I'm sweating! And Bellamy coming home with the game's drive of the day, but I'm going to give it to AJ personally. He fought hard, and right to the end, tooth and nail. Absolutely buzzing for that. And there's the Mercedes driver with the British flag coming home on the top step for the first race win of the season, knocking Ahmadi's knocking down Ahmadi's win streak, and gets that P1. Joined on the podium, and that's spraying, but it's not champagne. We're in Miami. They drink cocktails here. You're having either a mojito or a pina colada. Or getting caught in the rain. Literally getting caught in the rain. Clinky glasses. Well done to the top three. What a race that was. And we'll go down and have a look. So Adamako going at P1. Amadi coming home P2, fighting hard, ending up as 1.6 seconds behind. AJ fighting hard, Portuguese, coming home P3 with his first podium that I can remember for a while. Portuguese is coming home P4, Thelemy P5, Kiza P6, great running from him. Barca P7 for his first outing, Devil Rejected P8. Katami's coming home for P10, and Dan Morris ran off the top 10. Brid coming home P11, Danny Dine joining him on P12, Lethal Strike coming in P13 and with the fastest lap. Congratulations to him for that. And then Linazukin with final runner of the finishers coming home in P14. So what a race that was. Hopefully next week we're not going to see any rain. And I'm thinking about the drivers here. We will be in Shanghai, we will be in China, so hopefully the chance of that will be slim, but you never know. So, this is Lights Out League Racing. I have been your host, Alex. Please join us next week for Season 24's Race 4 in Shanghai. It's been a pleasure as always. Peace out.